So part 17, how I became an international smuggler, small boy from central Queensland that worked my way through the federal prison system in the United States, lost more than I can possibly imagine in the road to redemption back to where I am now. So, meeting a new landing crew. I actually don't even remember this guy's name, but he actually used to work for Boeing. He was an engineer for Boeing on the 777. That's what I mean, is you never know who these people are. It's actually quite interesting, fascinating that they're all not tatted up gangsters, mafiosos. Yeah, you wouldn't have picked it. So he came up and we had a meeting at Earl's, I believe, in Abbotsford. There was about 6 to 8 people at that meeting. I came in. Look, I generally don't, in any situation I'm even in now, is I don't say a lot. I like to listen. I always say to people, that's why we're born with 2 ears and 1 mouth, is be the smartest guy in the room and shut your mouth. And I just listened. And from me listening, I didn't like this guy. There was just that feeling. I'm spot on with people, I'll tell you that I didn't like him. I didn't trust him. There was something about him that I couldn't put my finger on, but he said a lot of dumb things in that meeting. You know, he told me, when you're down one weekend, how about you fire that thing up, come down. I've got an acre of land and take everyone for a ride. I thought, are you an idiot? Does Pablo Escobar get on his G6 and just say, hey, everyone, let's go for a spin around the island? Whenever I was flying that, it was incredibly stressful and it was a work machine. It was a dumb thing when you were just meeting. We were in a serious business. You know, people had perished earlier on. It's no joke. We weren't in a joking situation. And he talked too much, and I didn't like that. And he started banging on about let's all buy property in Mexico and, we were going to be lifelong friends. I didn't even know this guy. But the minute I left that meeting, the spidey senses said there was something about this guy I just did not like. So I said to the guy that introduced us, hey, you haven't screwed us 2 times in a row setting us up with a moron, have you? And he goes, no. He vouched for him. He goes, he's a great guy. Rightio, it's on your head. So that was that. But I asked for some insurance and I said, you've told me that you did a lot of business with this guy. How much business did you do? And told me that he ran it with boats, and this guy had millions and he just wanted to get back into the game and they'd never been caught and he was under no heat and he didn't have a criminal record. So, okay, whatever. So over the next couple of days, we started to put together our next run with our brand new sort of catches landing crew in the US. They got some product together. I didn't deal with any of that. Mine was just sheerly flying. So everything was set up for this one morning. And what actually happened was, I don't know. We got to the airport pretty early in the morning, but a bunch of things actually went wrong, and it's that gut instinct that I talk about when I do my other talks. It's trusting that inner soul and trusting what your stomach is telling you, or that little bird, or that person on your shoulder. And that person in the shoulder that morning was saying, Tim, everything's going wrong. Got to the helicopter. I sort of looked at the fuel and thought, I didn't want to get fuel, but I'll get fuel. I didn't really want to start it up, fly over to the fuel bowser, which was about 300 meters away. It was just a process. So I said to me and my buddy, let's just push the thing. It's got a set of wheels that clip onto the back, and then you got to push that thing. Believe it or not, it doesn't weigh a lot. It's just awkward. It mostly weighs, 500 kilos or something. It's actually quite light. They call it a mid-size helicopter. It's big, but it's lightweight. So, but it still took us a bit to push it over there. The wheels didn't have a lot of air in them, so that really. By the time we got over there, we were buggered. I went to put fuel into the helicopter, and we normally use this credit card. I don't know where the credit card, but it's not linked to me. Went to put the credit card in, and bang, Didn't work. So I'm like, oh, shit. So I phoned my contact and I say, hey, the card's not working. He said, give me a second. Tried something else. Give me a second. And again, I didn't carry a wallet at this point. I'm doing all transactions in cash. And so time went on. I remember my buddy sort of sitting on the skid of the helicopter, and I think he was having a smoke, which, we were standing next to 2,000 gallons of avgas, but my man was having a dart, and I said that might be a good idea to put that away. So I kept phoning. Obviously, the sun's coming up. I like doing this stuff under the cover of darkness. Only occasionally will I fly when the sun's out. But it was just one of those brisk, bright mornings. And he goes, no, I've got it all sorted out. Everyone's in place. They want to go. You can't back out. A lot of pressure. You're not backing out. The ground crews want to go. Okay. My gut feeling was, let's call it off. Let's go back the next day. But they were keen. So here we go. I'm hooked up with some morons because he said, I believed there was going to be somebody coming out with a credit card that was going to, just swipe it and away we go. But I could see lights coming in the distance, and guess who this idiot had called? He had called the airport authorities, and they came out and gave me some fuel. So there were two blokes standing there with seemingly $1 million helicopter that none of them had $700 on them or a card to get some fuel. So that should have been my first giveaway. But anyway, we filled it up. I just remember standing there talking to the guy, looking back at my buddy who is, I say the co-pilot, but he didn't know how to fly. He was there to get the bags. Just shaking my head, and he's looking at me, eyes wide open, saying, we should just push this back. This is not good, brother. It's got the fuel, and it was... I could hear birds chirping. That's how brisk the morning was. And I called one last time just to say this is not a good day. I just had that feeling it wasn't going to be a good day. And they said, nope, we're going to go. So I said to him, nah, let's go. What's going to come into play was, it was 215 pounds is what we were picking up of broccoli. Cabbage. So I don't know those figures until later on when I get paid. I just know roughly the bags. So we flew over to the creek. By then, the guy's there. So it was very clear to see him. I flew in behind. Pickup was very quick, and we climbed out. I mean, it was a beautiful, clear day. It was a great day for flying. There was no weather. There was no darkness, no wind. I mean, it was just so smooth, and that's that eerie part. That they say, beware of a Red Sea something. The sailors, calm seas before the storm. And that's what it was like. It was like the helicopter was absolutely motoring. It was 125 knots on the way down, which for that is absolutely chuffing along. No wind, just a cruisy flight. Having a bit of a chat, we flew down for about 40 miles, which is very not a far flight, maybe 50 miles. It was about a 25. Once we got to the border, it's about a 25-minute flight down. As I come up and over the hill, I was just going that quick. I had to. I didn't realise the landing spot was coming up so quick. So, stay tuned.